Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Sale. I was born in Canada in a small town on Lake Ontario called Cobourg. When I was 7, I moved to a neighborhood outside of Toronto. And when I was 9, we moved to a suburb called Schaumburg, just outside of Chicago. And then when I was 12, we moved here to San Diego. I have played a lot of organized sports growing up. Hockey was my favorite sport, and in fact I went to college at the University of Minnesota for a year in hopes of making the hockey team coached by Herb Brooks, who went on to coach the U.S. Olympic team in 1980 that had the Miracle on Ice. So I came back to San Diego and went to school for a couple of years at Mesa Community College, a local community college, and then graduated from San Diego State University with a degree in physics. On the day I graduated, I met Jody Reed, who at the time was actually an Edtec student of Bernie's, and who I ultimately married a year later. Together we moved up to Loma Linda to work together doing some pioneering work at the Loma Linda University School of Medicine in medical education technology and virtual reality in medicine. And I also did some graduate work in the neurophysiology of Parkinson's disease and learning. At the time, Jody was offered a Pacific Bell Edtec Fellowship, in fact under the tutelage of Bernie and Pat Harrison. So we moved back to San Diego, where I got a job doing multimedia education technology support for the San Diego State College of Sciences. I was at San Diego State for about 8 years, and then about 7 years ago I got a job here at the San Diego Supercomputer Center with the education group. I do a lot of different things related to education technology here at the Supercomputer Center, but I mainly do education portal development for our teacher tech and our student tech programs. And I've also developed a portal based around real scientific data for teachers to use called the Discover Data Education Portal. I also had the opportunity to work on a game development project funded by the National Science Foundation that we called Assignment Antarctica, that was supposed to help high school and middle school students learn about environmental science and what environmental science researchers do. Games I really enjoy include chess and cribbage. And I like to play a lot of card games, including poker and rummy, and in my college days I played a lot of hearts and spades. There are only a few computer games I've become engaged and ultimately obsessed with. The first one, many years ago, was Tetris, which evolved a version called Color Super Tetris. I also loved Myst. How many of you remember the awesome game Myst? And recently I've gotten back into Angry Birds. I also like racing games, particularly Formula One, where we're driving through windy streets. I've played Assassin's Creed, but haven't had as much time as I would like. Assassin's Creed I love because of the realistic rendering quality and a lot of the complex interaction and gameplay. I've seen my daughter and her friends play Portal 2, and I've played it a little, and when I retire I'll probably be playing this game. It looks awesome. And I've also spent a little bit of time a couple of years ago playing World of Warcraft, but I just hadn't had the time to do it justice. My wife and I currently live in a small city outside of San Diego called Santee, and it's right up against a beautiful little regional park called Mission Trails. And I also love doing 3D modeling, so I've actually built a little 3D model of the house that I live in. And you can actually walk in. It's not really furnished, but this is the kind of thing that I really enjoy doing, and Google Earth is one of the coolest tools ever. I also teach part-time at a local community college called Cuyamaca College. I teach Flash web animation and PHP and MySQL dynamic database applications. And I even host my own Moodle site. Well, that's it for me. I hope to get to know you guys too.